On June 4th, 2020, I published a video called Trump Re-election or Assassination. The title of the video expresses the essence of what I was reading from Trump's charts. In other words, something huge is going to happen to Trump at the end of the year, and it's either really, really good for him or it's really, really bad. In this video, I made some specific predictions. So what I am predicting, though, for June is insanity, wild unpredictability, unrestrained violation of restrictions. He is about to do stuff that nobody is going to even expect, that nobody is going to think he could get away with, that nobody is going to think is possible. He's going to defy every precedent, every norm, every expectation. And about that Mars, the way that Mars is configured with the eclipse, that means the predominant flavor of what he's doing is martial. So we're talking military, militant, violent, macho, maverick, and uncooperative. These predictions were perfectly accurate, although perhaps wrongly timed, to begin in June of 2020 at the June eclipse, which is what they were interpretations of. It actually appears that the violent ramifications of Trump's behaviors didn't bear fruit fully until November and December, which is the subsequent eclipse. However, the foundation for all of the insanity actually did begin in the weeks leading up to the June eclipse, as I said in the video. And that was when Trump began laying the foundations for his conspiracy theory that the election would be fraudulent because it would rely on mail-in ballots. Also, in this video, I made a specific prediction about the election results. So, my prediction is not that he's going to get assassinated, but that he's going to do wild stuff in June. Throw the world upside down, especially throw America upside down. And despite everybody's expectations or wishes or beliefs or wildest dreams, he's going to win again. And again, a very Rahu Ketu way where nobody can figure out how it happened. Except for the part where I said that he would win, the rest of it is totally accurate. We've never seen a president behave so recklessly. We've never seen a president throw America into so much turmoil. My prediction that he would win was wrong, but the manner in which he would win, quote, in a way that nobody can figure out, is actually exactly what he tried to do. On June 18th of 2020, I published another video called Donald Trump's Destiny in American History. In this video, I interpreted the interaction between the charts of Donald Trump and the U.S. founding chart. So I explained in that video that Trump would prove to be, quote, a major person in the course of American history. And then I described the reason why. One of the biggest, most obvious conclusions is that Trump is not an insignificant person. Because any glance at this chart shows this person has a huge effect on the course of American history because of all of the significant interactions between his chart and American chart. So frankly, I believe that this man is going to change America forever. Therefore, I think that this is another reason to believe that re-election is likely in 2020. Although maybe in losing he may do something really huge, but I have another video about why I do think he's going to get reelected. He's got a huge role to play in American history, so it's probably not over yet. Another conclusion is he's going to cause a lot of pain and damage to America because of how his combative planets are interacting with Mercury, how his Mars is interacting with the American moon, and how his eclipse is interacting with the American Mars and ascendant. So it actually is not a positive figure in American history. He's a huge figure in American history and a huge negative figure. And I do think, as I mentioned before, that the negativity could be so severe that you're not going to recognize America. I reasoned that Trump's being a major person in the course of American history in this manner would require that he be involved with America for a lot more than another 6 months. So I thought that these interpretations meant that he would have to win another term. Otherwise, how is he going to be able to do that much harm? So what I underestimated was how much harm he could do in a short time, and he could do it by losing. Although in the video I did at least recognize that as another significant possibility. Then later on October 5th of 2020, I published a video called Trump's Coronavirus Outcome Prediction. This wasn't a video about the election, it was about Trump's coronavirus, but in it I briefly reiterated the conclusions from the June videos, saying that Trump will win the 2020 election and this will initiate the most severe crisis America has seen in centuries, and that if he doesn't win, then something very bad will have to happen to him. So what actually happened was pretty close to this. He lost the election, and it was very, very bad for him. And his attempts to deny that loss did in fact initiate the most severe crisis that America has seen in centuries. In October, we had some discussion about this on the YouTube community section there where you make posts. So somebody had asked me if my predictions had changed at all from June till October, and I said no. And then I explained I basically see a huge event happening right now to him and not to Biden. So I can't imagine that this means that Trump loses unless some other type of huge event occurs to him that I didn't imagine. And in comments on this post, several people suggested that losing the election would be a big event for Trump, so why can't that be an interpretation? At the time, my reaction was, I don't think losing the election is a big enough of a deal to match what I see in the charts. Because again, I didn't envision or foresee that it was possible to lose in such a gigantic, catastrophic, and disastrous manner in which it actually happened. And finally, on November 5th, I published one more video called Trump versus Biden Election Day Commentary. That was the election day. In this video, I reiterated that I didn't expect Trump to win by votes, but by deceptions, all the while being the one claiming that he's the one being deceived and that he's the one being cheated. So that is exactly, in fact, what he tried to do. It's just that he didn't pull it off. So to conclude this retrospective on my Trump predictions, I did get many of the details right, really right, but I got the bottom line wrong, which is thinking that he's going to win the election. So why? In my opinion, the core seed of my mistake was underestimating the significance of Jupiter and Saturn's aspect to Joe Biden's exalted natal Jupiter. So the basic technique was, wow, there's a huge transit on election day in Trump's chart. It's huge. It's an eclipse on his natal eclipse in his 11th house. Whereas with Biden's chart, there's nothing really that major going on. There's just this aspect of both Jupiter and Saturn to his natal Jupiter, which is the foundation of his chart, but it's not as big as Trump's. And in 2016, I got the prediction right. I said that Trump would beat Clinton, and it was on the exact same basis. There was a big transit for Trump, and there was nothing that special going on for Clinton. I think in 2020, I underestimated the significance of what was going on in Biden's chart. I would consistently say, if he does lose, he's going to lose big. Something bad is going to happen to him. But I didn't take that option seriously enough. I didn't think it was as likely as the win option. And the reason for it is that I didn't think that Biden's transits were strong enough. So it actually was the case that Donald Trump had a much louder, more eventful life this past 2 months than Joe Biden. He had far more attention, far more media traffic, and even much more political significance than Biden did, even though Biden won. And that, in hindsight, makes a lot of sense that his transits are louder. They're Rahu transits to natal Rahus in an eclipse, transiting eclipse to natal eclipse. Those are loud, uproarious, earth-shattering transits. And certainly that was Trump's life for the past 2 months, loud, uproarious, and earth-shattering, more than ever before. And let's hope more than ever again. Biden's transit, on the other hand, it was simple. A simple transit. Jupiter and Saturn transiting by aspect. His natal Jupiter exalted in his 8th house, tucked away in the 8th house. So it actually, that transit does also describe what actually happened. A simple, unassuming success. So Trump, just like his loud Rahu transit, was the focus of way more attention and contention and stuff like that. But Biden also, just like his transit, actually just quietly, patiently persevered and won.